Attention.
And we're underway in the women's double sculls event.
It was a really big grandstand. That was pretty amazing.
Let's go, Canada! Let's go!
From the moment we start the race, our heart rate's getting up to about 200 beats per minute.
It's McBean and Heddle going for gold for Canada.
So when we're a quarter of the way into the race, our boat's starting to move out ahead, and it's awesome. And the way Kathleen and I always planned a race was to really push people away when it was starting to hurt. And all I see is Kathleen's back in front of me, right? Just taking these strokes with her, and her hair is kind of like kicking back and whipping in the direction we want to go. And I was like, I don't have 10 more strokes in me, but I got to follow Kathleen. And so I just gave one more and one more and one more until we crossed the finish line. We did everything that we had trained for, and we won.
No Canadian athlete at the Olympic Games has won 3 gold medals until now. I'd like to introduce you to the Trailblazers, Kathleen Heddle, Marnie McBean.
I remember that was the first time that I had spoken to an Olympic champion when I did the interview with you two at the dock.
We're just thrilled, and we weren't really thinking about the 3 gold medal thing, but now that you mention it, it's pretty neat.
The first words out of her mouth were, when you think about it, that we won and we changed disciplines, that's pretty neat. And she was so understated.
Yeah.
Right?
I think Kathleen was really good for me and my personality because she always kept focused on what the really important things were, right? Like what was our goal and what did we get? And everything else is kind of gravy.
You learned a lot from her.
Kathleen affected everything, colored everything. She was my rowing partner on the water, but she affected how I was thinking, how I was behaving. You like to think that you're going to learn a lot from your sport, but I learned also from Kathleen not just how to be a good rowing partner, but I think how to be a good person. And I'm sure it's helping me be a better chef.
What would you take from your relationship with her or her personality that you would try to impart on these current Olympians?
I think one of the things, I've been talking about it for decades, that I learned from Kathleen is that relationships and partnerships aren't about meeting in the middle. It's not about giving 50% of what I've got and getting 50% of what Kathleen had. It was about learning to give 100% of what I had to Kathleen and taking 100% of what Kathleen had to give to me. And so I think the way Kathleen has taught me to listen, and to listen to introverts and to listen to quiet people and to reserved people, because they have a tremendous amount of valuable things to say. That's what I want to bring into the Team Canada environment. I feel pretty lucky to have had that gift from Kathleen to take with me to Tokyo.
Talk about Virtue and Moyer, Ian Miller and Big Ben. But arguably there's no greater partnership.
Thanks for putting us in.
Than McBean and Heddle. I mean, what has that meant to be a part of that very personal combination?
Well, I don't know how to separate it. Like, I don't know how to, in the Olympic environment, be just McBean. So, it means everything to me because it's the only thing I know.
I know you had to convince her to come back in '96, and you called her. Called her repeatedly until she relented and finally said, "You know what? You caught me on a bad day. I'm gonna."
Sounds like a good idea.
Sounds like you're gonna think about it. If you could call her now, what would you want to say? Why was that so important that she said, "Yeah, I'll think about it"?
If I could call Kathleen today, I'd say, let's go for coffee. I'd ask her if she's going to be rowing with us in Boston in the fall, how the kids are. I don't know. I think I stopped listening when you said if you could call Kathleen today.
It's been a lot to manage the last 18 months. you're leading a team at a games which have been postponed. How do you manage all that? How do you make some sense of it?
This has been a roller coaster. You know, the whole ride from when I was like appointed chef, which is like, I'm chef, yay! And then a pandemic comes and the games are, we're not going, they're canceled, they're postponed. And then, you know, Kathleen passed, and that was a shock. On top of all of this, Kathleen was going to be with me on this journey no matter what. And I don't know, I don't want this to be disrespectful at all, but it's almost like one of those Obi-Wan Kenobi things. Like, she's with me even more now. Like, her spirit, like the idea, like I have her more present in my thought process. Once again, I'm going back to the Olympics, and it's still McBean and Heddle, because I don't want to be the chef to just the McBeans. I want to be a chef to the Heddles also. I'm not the only one who lost Kathleen. It's Mike, her husband, it's her kids, it's her family, but she was part of how I saw the Olympics, every Olympics, whether I was being a mentor at a Winter Olympics, I'd be like taking Kathleen in that whole process with me. And so now that I'm a chef at a Summer Olympics, 25 years after our last win, but she will be with me at the games in spirit, and even stronger now than ever before.